right, y'all. We're going to be cooking out of this wonderful recipe book. It's called Country Cooking, and it's from all over the states. You don't have to be from the South to be country and be a country girl. You could be a country girl up in upstate New York. We all have countrysides. And you know what? Today, we are making a delicious recipe for Finnish pasties. Now look at that. Don't that look delicious? And that is a hearty, nice meal. Got your protein and your vegetables all in one. Now, some people eat these with ketchup. Some people eat them with gravy. And they say if they're really good, you don't need either one. And of course, some people eat them with hot sauce and all different kinds of ways. But I'm going to let this cool a minute. And we're going to get us a bite. Smells delicious. We're going to make the dough first, and while this dough is refrigerating, we're going to prep our vegetables. So we're going to be using lard, all-purpose flour, cold water, salt, an egg, and vinegar. And we're going to start with the flour. And we're going to incorporate the flour and the lard together. So it's 3 cups of flour. This is a pretty large recipe. But you can freeze these and eat them later too. All right. So that's 3 cups of all-purpose flour. You're going to use a teaspoon of salt, 1 whole cup of lard, and I'm going to get it out with this 1/2 cup scoop. So it's a cup of lard. So that's a 1/2 cup of lard. It's sticky. And then another 1/2 cup. I'm going to show you this cookbook. I'm going to be cooking out of it for the next few weeks, maybe the whole month of April. It's called The Best of Country Cooking. And it's got recipes from all over the states. This one, of course, today we're making Finnish pasties. This is from a lady named Ruth Myers out of Manchester, Michigan. Now, these are really popular in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Now, you're going to work that into your flour with a blending fork. And this is just a large fork that has wide prongs. And it's like an old-fashioned Foley fork. They actually became popular when Julia Childs used them back in the day. They're a lot easier to cut short and into flour than a horseshoe type pastry blender. Lard is a lot harder to cut in than shortening. Shortening's a lot lighter and fluffier. So if you've never cut in lard, just know it's going to take you a minute or two. Even with this blending fork. This has to refrigerate for a while. And that's why we're going to prep our vegetables while it's in the refrigerator. Once those lard pieces get about pea size, then you're ready. So get ready to use some elbow grease. You could also use a stand mixer, probably, with a paddle attachment. I know you could do that with shortening, but I'm not sure how good it would work with lard because it's so sticky. And this is an old recipe. You could tell because it's using lard. So this is an old-fashioned Finnish pasty. All right, now you're going to use a 1/3 cup of really cold water. And I had an ice cube in it to keep it cold, so I'm going to make sure it's exactly a 1/3 cup before I pour it in. We're going to use an egg. And I think I'll beat it a little bit with a fork. And you're going to use a teaspoon of vinegar. And that's it. Now let me get a bread kneader. So I think it would work good for this. It's the one that has the circle end. And we're just going to mix this bread up. And this is our crust for our Finnish pasties. Just make sure you get all the flour off the bottom of the bowl. And then I'm going to start using my hands to get all the rest of it and get it formed into a ball. All right. Now we're going to form it into a ball so we can refrigerate it. Chris has been outside working all day. He is a hard-working man. And I think he'll like this supper made with delicious Swaggerty sausage. So these will have potatoes and carrots and sausage in them. And you do want it to be thick like this because you're going to roll it out. These are going to bake in the oven. All right, let's get this out of here. I think we did a good job. All right, we're going to form it into a ball, wrap it with some plastic wrap, or you could put it in a plastic bag, whatever you want to do. And then we're going to get it in the refrigerator. All right, there you have it. I'm going to refrigerate that while we prep our vegetables. Okay, you're going to peel and dice 2 cups of potatoes, 3/4 cups of carrot, and an onion. You're going to dice it into little squares for it to go into your pasty. These are going to cook an hour in the oven, and you don't cook your beef or your sausage first, so they will have moisture in there, and you do put in a pat of butter, but you want to make sure and chop it good so that it'll get done. So you guys tell me if you can remember your mother or grandmother or papa making a Finnish pasty and how if they used the lard when they did it, they may have used shortening. And what kind of meat they used as well, because if you use a ground beef, it's going to be really greasy. If you use a ground chuck, it won't be quite as greasy because you're not cooking it first. So you want to keep that in mind. If I were to make these with beef, I think I would use a ground chuck instead of a ground beef. I do like to take the outside peel off my carrots. I always have. Mama did. She scraped it off with a knife, the side of a knife. But I use the peeler for it. I think it's much easier. And it don't splatter everywhere. Carrots really stain everything too. It's getting time for Easter. Carrot reminds me of Bunny Rabbit. Last but not least, the onion. This is just a sweet onion. And it needs to be small enough that it's going to get done inside that pasty. That looks good. So that's about how big you want it. And we're going to chop everything about the same size. All right, it said 3/4 to a cup of carrots, and that's really close. And I'm not using rutabaga. That's why I chose to do just a little more carrot. It's because I'm not going to put the rutabaga in it like it says in the recipe, because I don't have any. And if you have some, by all means use them. this says a 1/4 cup of onion. So I may just use half this onion. It's just a medium onion, and I'm going to chop half of it up. I prefer to cut up my potatoes in my hand like this because when you try to put them on a cutting board and use a large chef knife, the starch in the potato wants to stick to the knife, and then it's just too much trouble, I think. And some people could say that you could spray the knife, but to me that's just, I don't know, overkill when I could just pick it up and cut it up in squares. All right, there's our vegetables prepped. So we're going to start putting together our filling. We're going to use the same bowl that we used to make the bread, and that way I don't have to dirty up another bowl. And let me get out our meat. I'm going to be using 1 pound of Swaggerty sausage. Now, if you want to use a hot sausage, they also make a hot sausage. And I'm telling you, there ain't a better sausage in the world than Swaggerty's. For real. Most of y'all that have tried it have absolutely loved it. I get so many comments about it. And, you know, if you can make a meal out of a tube of sausage, to me, you're doing pretty good. As much as the meats are these days. Beef is just ridiculous. So you're going to be getting your hands a little bit dirty with this recipe. Let me wash my hands right quick. And we're going to put in our Worcestershire sauce, our poultry seasoning. So Worcestershire is 2 tablespoons. There's 1 and 2. And then for our poultry seasoning, it's a 1/4 teaspoon. 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to put it in a 1/2 teaspoon. Just because. All right. And now all we do is mix this together. And this is going to be the filling for our dough. So I think I'm going to mix the Worcestershire and the seasoning up in the sausage first. And then we will add the vegetables to it. If you don't want to use your hands, you can use a mixer, stand mixer. But I wouldn't use a hand mixer. Now we got that incorporated in there really good and evenly. And I think that's smart to do because if you put the vegetables in there, it'd be really hard to get that done. Now we're going to add our vegetables. There's a lot of them. And get it all that in there. And you're going to find that this don't mix together easy. So it's probably the best way to do it is with your hands. The potatoes and carrots just want to slide out of that sausage. Just try your best to get it mixed up pretty good. All right. Now we're going to get our dough out and roll it and stuff these pasties and get them in the oven. They're going to be delicious. All right. We're going to take our dough. Well, should get about 6 to 7 dough rounds out of it. I'm just going to divide it up evenly and roll them out separately. So I'm just going to half it. And try to get them about the same. All right. We're just going to roll it out. And you want it about as thick as a pie crust. There's one. You're going to do that until you get 7 of them. I got some of these thicker than others, so I'm just going to try to get them about the same thickness. Some might be just a little bit bigger than another one, and that's all right. It'll give it more room for filling. All right, we're going to fill these and get them in the oven. Now, before you do that, you're going to use a little bit of butter, and you're going to use an egg to glaze them with. We're going to do an egg glaze. You're going to take a large egg and put in a tablespoon of water. You're going to whisk that really good. All right, we're going to put our filling on it. Going to put in a pat of butter. And then put another on top of it. Then I'm going to bring them together. Now you can fold them over, but if you do that, you can't get near the amount of filling in there. And I want it to be like a full meal pie, like the full serving. And then once you do that, if you want to trim it to make it pretty, you can. All right, I'm going to slide up under it with my go ahead and slide up under it all the way around to transfer it to your baking pan. The Finnish pasty is super popular in Upper Michigan. And the good thing about doing the pasty is that they are done different ways because people have adapted different styles and different ways to put them together. Now, traditionally, it should have rutabaga in it, but I wasn't going to drive all the way to the store and buy rutabaga when I had the other ingredients. I just wanted to see how they taste. And I love rutabaga. So it's not because I don't like them. I love rutabaga. I have a wonderful rutabaga recipe if you've never tried it, where I glaze them. Boy, they're so good. I forgot to put the pat of butter on that one again. Mama just can't remember. There it is. I had just a little bit of extra dough left from trimming everything, and it was kind of dry. So I just took it and put it a little bit of water on it and kneaded it a little bit. And we're going to get one more pie out of this, and it's going to fill my half sheet pan up perfectly. I don't want to get rid of this dough. So we're going to roll it out and get another pie out of it. So you want to put your smallest piece on the bottom and the one that you roll out a little extra on the top, because it has to fold over the filling. brush each pasty. Now, your pasties may not look this yellow. Remember, we have our own chickens, and so the yellow of our eggs, or the yolk, is a lot more yellow than the store eggs. If you're wondering why they look so bright and sunny, now you're going to put these in a 375-degree oven for about 10 minutes. Then you're going to turn the oven down to 350 and bake them an hour. All right, these are ready, and boy, do they smell good. Me and Chris have been smelling them. They're making us hungry. And there you have it. 6 large pasties. Now mine are a little bit big because I chose not to fold the dough over like the recipe said, because I don't know how in the world you could get that much stuffing in one unless you just had a really big circle. She said 6-inch circle, and I'm just going to measure these across and see how big my circle was. My circle was 6 inches. So you can tell by looking at this, if I had only used one of those pastries, then I would have only got a 1/4 cup of filling in each one instead of a 1/2 cup. So I chose to make them big. Boy, they look good, don't they? Because I wanted them to be a full serving for supper. Me and Chris are going to enjoy them. Now, while these are cooling off and we've sliced that one, I just want you to see how pretty they are on the inside. Now, we made ours with sausage. And if you make them with hamburger, I bet that's why people really love them with ketchup, if they're made with hamburger. But since these are made with sausage, I think they're going to be good just like they are. You can also serve them with gravy. Of course you can. Or any kind of dipping sauce, really. I was going to tell you a little bit about, this is a recipe from a lady, and her name was Ruth Myers from Manchester, Michigan. And they're really popular up in the upper peninsula of Michigan. And so I just wanted to make them and see how they were. And we did the traditional way and made them with lard. And so I just want you to see how cute they are. They're easy to take with you for lunch. Back in the day, the guys could take them to work with them and the kids and get them out and eat them cold for lunch. And they were just convenient, a convenient way for a woman to pack a lunch for a kid or a husband. And they were just super popular. We're going to give it a try. I think it's cooled off enough. Mm-hmm. It's really, really good. It reminds me of a pot pie. It really does, because it's got the vegetables in there. But it's got a lot of flavor with the sausage. And Swaggerty makes the best sausage, y'all. Swaggerty is a family business out of Tennessee. And boy, do they have the most delicious recipe for their sausage. It tastes just like the sausage I ate when I was growing up, and we made with our own pigs. You just can't hardly find anything that tastes that good at the grocery store. So if you haven't tried the Swaggerty sausage, I urge you to do it. And let me tell you, these are kind of a pain in the butt to make because it did take me a while, but you can freeze them. Look at them. I'm just going to slide them in a freezer bag and put them in the freezer. And then you could take them out and warm them up for lunch in your air fryer or in the oven or for supper. And boy, are they going to be good.
I like anything with lard. So let's see. Mm, that's good. I thought the crust would be a lot thicker and stuff than it is, but it's really good. It's real hearty because you get all that with it. I'd like it with hamburger too.
Mm-hmm.
I would put ketchup on it if I had it made with hamburger.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good like that.
We thank you for watching Collard Valley Cooks. Cooking like this mama did. in Michigan. We'll see you next time. Love ya.